Beurre Blanc, a very common, very popular butter sauce for fish from France, most famously used with bass in the Nantes part of Brittany, Beurre Blanc Nantaise. And I'm going to grill a lemon sole to go with the Beurre Blanc. So, first of all, chop the shallots. So they do need to be quite finely chopped so I can get as much flavour out of them as I can. These days they're banana shallots, which are what these are, a bit of a boon to busy kitchens, because in the old days half of the time you spent getting shallots ready for cooking down was peeling them. They were so small, sometimes not much bigger than a garlic clove. So that's about 50 grams of shallots. I'm just going to put these in the small pan. A couple of tablespoons of white wine vinegar, about 4 tablespoons of white wine. Bring up the heat. And some water. Boil that liquid away. Really I'm doing this to reduce the wine and the vinegar down a little bit and soften the shallots and get all the flavour out of the shallots. So that's part one of the sauce finished. So that's just about ready. If I wasn't trying to do this in double quick time, I would have actually simmered that a little more gently, because what I'm trying to do is to really cook the shallots out so they're very nice and soft. I just want to make this really quickly so you don't have to watch too long a video. That's not too bad. They are quite soft now. I'm just going to take the liquid down to about a tablespoon of concentrated liquid flavoured with vinegar, wine and shallots. So what I'm going to do now is just pass this through this sieve and then force as much through with the spoon as I can. There we go. Now then, that's about a tablespoon. Back on the heat. In goes the now reduced sauce. Bit of cream now, just about, I don't know, 15-20 mils. Bring that back to the boil and just going to reduce that down a little bit with a bit more water. And now the fun bit, which is beating in butter to make my Beurre Blanc. So in goes the butter, like that, down with the temperature a bit, and we start whisking. You can do this off the heat, but I find it much easier just to add a bit of water and actually whisk it in on the boil. It just goes together much better. Absurdly easy to make. Remember, do use unsalted butter, otherwise it's too salty. And what I'm looking for, as always with my sauces, is I want it as thick as to coat the back of a spoon. A bit more butter now. This was about 175 grams of unsalted butter that's gone in here. That is beginning to get up to consistency that will coat the back of a spoon. Lovely. That's much better. Look at that unctuousness. So in goes the final butter and a final stir. That is looking quite blanc now. And there we have it. Beurre Blanc. Little final taste. Delicious. Now what I do is to keep it very carefully, because it is prone to splitting, especially if it gets too hot. So I'll just set that to one side. And now I'm going to grill a lemon sole to go with the Beurre Blanc. One of my favourite fish is a lemon sole. The problem with all flat fish, unless you're going to take them off, fillet them off the bone, which Dover sole is very easy to do, not so easy with lemon sole because it's a lot softer, is these bones that run along the side here. I call them sort of lateral bones. And one of the things I do, and I see it done more and more commonly in restaurants, is actually to cut all this away, so you're only left with the 4 fillets, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the bone. And by doing that, you're turning it into almost a boneless piece of fish. Obviously you've got the black backbone, but that's really easy. So basically you just have to cut like that. See where the scissors are, and there's the main fillet. Cut that off like that on one side, and then do the other side. See, that's where the fillet runs, so I'll just run the knife against the fillet like that. And that just has the effect of taking all those tiresome little bones out. And I'm going to snip off the head as well, and don't throw that away. pop it in the freezer, and you will be rewarded with great fish stock. Yeah, also cut out the little gut cavity there. There's a tiny bit there that needs coming off, like that, and the tail. And what you're left with is pretty much easier to eat. And the problem with serving a fish like this up with something like Beurre Blanc, the Beurre Blanc gets in all those little bones, and it's sort of really irritating and horrid, whereas that is lovely. Okay, so now I've got a little grilling tray. Bought these over from Australia actually. They're sort of pizza grilling trays. They're rather nice, very useful for a little fish like this. Okay, I'm just going to use this time because just some oil, some on the fish, some on the tray, then some salt and pepper. There we go. In the oven for, shall we say, 8 to 10 minutes. Good, time has passed. The lemon salt I think should be done by now. Just look at that, see, it looks appetizing I think. So just ease it off the plate like that. And now the Beurre Blanc, which incidentally I've just kept over some warm water just to keep it in good condition. Sometimes it does split. This time it hasn't. Just needs a little bit of a stir. If it splits badly, the thing to do is just add a couple of tablespoons of water to it and put it back on the heat and just bring it back to the boil and keep stirring. It'll come back together again. But it's looking good. So I just like to put a sort of lick of it on there, not too much, and then serve the rest separately. Looks pretty good. Lemon sole, Beurre Blanc.